Okay, alright, we're running out of people. I want to do Tama last, so let's go back to Osawa, the doctor, who is the father of the kidnapped girl and Hitome. I don't want to be forgiven for what I've done. There's a whole bunch of intrigue going on with him and experiments and dead people and a world virus contagion that's very timely. We may have both done the same thing, but my motives, those were different, and so I don't regret what I've did. And yet, if someone were to ask if there was some small part of me that wanted to see the results of my research, I could not deny it. Osawa grabbed his shoes from the entryway and then headed to the back door. He didn't want the detectives in his living room to know he was going to meet with Makino. That pest Kajiwara was nowhere in sight. Now was his chance to slip away. Gotcha. Oh, this guy again. Speak of the devil, Kajiwara had snuck up behind him. So Kajiwara is one of the investigators who's keeping an eye on Osawa's family here to make sure they don't do anything while the payoff was happening. But he's just a weirdo that keeps showing up and making really weird conversation. Are you going out? The detective asked. No, I was just... Osawa felt something inside his shoe. Glancing down, he saw a rubber duck stuffed inside it. Is this your doing? I laid a booby trap, or rather, a ducky trap. Originally a type of lethal trap used during wartime to catch clumsy or unaware soldiers, boobies, in modern parlance. However, the term frequently signifies a harmless prank, such as setting a blackboard eraser atop a classroom door so that it falls on the head of whoever opens the door. Kajiwara beamed with self-satisfaction. You know, you act like a grade schooler, Osawa said. Indeed, sir. I am a grown man with a youthful heart. Leave it to Kajiwara to yet again miss the point entirely. With a sigh, Osawa tossed the duck at him. Kajiwara caught it nimbly in one hand and then stuffed it right into his pocket. I won't tell you that you aren't allowed to leave, sir. All I ask is that you tell me where you've been and where you plan on going. My work is highly confidential. I'm not at liberty to discuss anything about... Please try to work with me on this, sir, Kajiwara interrupted. He leaned in uncomfortably close. Do you recall what I said before? About how I'd appreciate if you didn't keep secrets from me? Sawa hesitated, inwardly debating how much he should share. He decided to tell it, alright, I'll tell you, just leave me in peace. He needed to keep this a secret, doesn't continue, or I'm just gonna buy some cigarettes. I'm gonna see what happens if I tell the truth. Probably not. Well, he decided to tell the truth. Alright, I'll tell you. Just leave me in peace. One of my colleagues is waiting for me outside. Who is it? I'm sorry, that's all I can say. Could you tell me a bit about what you'll be discussing? Kajiwara leaned in even closer. His eyes twinkled with suspicion. I can't share corporate secrets, detective. Like, how you don't tell me anything about the state of your investigation. It goes both ways. Might have been childish reasoning, but it worked in Kajiwara. Alright, the detective said, in that case I have just one condition. Please take this with you. He produced something that looked like a small transceiver from inside his coat. What's this? It's a bug tracker, sir. It'll beep in response to a nearby listening device. I'm just going to meet someone from work. I don't need this. He pushed Kajiwara's hand aside and the bug tracker fell to the floor. Mr. Osawa, you mustn't underestimate the lengths at which these kidnappers might go. For once, the detective's face was all seriousness. Alright, fine. Osawa snatched up the device and headed out the door. Makino's car was parked out front. A driver stood alongside it. Osawa exchanged a wordless greeting with him, then got in the back. He found Makino reclining in one of the luxurious leather seats. Now then, Makino said, what did you want to ask me about? Lighting a cigar, he glanced sidelong at Osawa. I was hoping you could explain the situation to me, sir. Which situation would that be? So he was gonna still beat around the bush even now. Osawa suppressed an urge to shout at him. Are you the one who let the antiviral out of the lab, sir? Yes, that was me. Makino didn't bat an eyelid. So why had he been so coy a few moments earlier? But how? The fingerprint authentication system is almost unbreakable. Getting access to the storage area would... He trailed off as a thought suddenly occurred to him. It was not strictly true that fingerprint authentication was the only means of entry. Osawa and Tanaka had both set up passwords as a failsafe in case the injured fingertips somehow prevented them from operating the scanner properly. But these passwords were 10-character alphanumeric strings. No one could just haphazardly fumble their way in. Could Makino send the request to electronic locks manufacturer and ask them to unlock it then? No, that required the approval of 6 board members. Osawa was one of those 6 people. There really seemed to be no way of getting in without leaving any trace. You're absolutely right, of course, Makino said with a grin as if reading his thought. I couldn't gain access to the lab without you and Tanaka. But I didn't have to. He exhaled a large plume of smoke. You remember when we released the samples for animal testing? No, it couldn't be. Osawa broke out in a sweat. Ah, but it could, Makino said. I had them divert some of the samples intended for animal testing. Naturally, that didn't leave any record of anything being taken from the lab. Osawa bit his lip hard. He couldn't help but feel betrayed by his company. But why? Makino let out a nasal one-note chuckle. You don't really seem to grasp just how valuable this thing really is. What do you mean by that, sir? Makino lowered his voice. There's a major world power out there that has already weaponized the Ue virus. For a moment, Osawa thought this was just a sick joke. The look on Makino's face told him otherwise. I've been informed that it was recently used on a military installation in the Middle East. Within 12 hours of dispersal, there were at least 800 casualties. If you include civilians, the number jumps to over 2,000. Any evidence of disease agent and the bomb that delivered it has, of course, been covered up. Osawa listened in amazement, his outrage that any government would commit such an atrocity, not quite suppressing his excitement at discovering that the virus could be propagated by explosive means. He felt a flush of guilt at his own fascination. Antiviral you created, Osawa, has the potential to render this weapon useless. Hi, John. Right now, Okoshi Pharmaceutical possesses the sole means to combat Ue. Makino's lips curled into a boastful grin. Any number of countries would love to get their hands on it. The major power in question has offered an unprecedented sum. And that's hardly a surprise. Having a monopoly on the antiviral makes the weapon itself that much more valuable. To Osawa, this was a glimpse into another terrifying world, one he had barely imagined previously. And so you wanted to get human testing over with as soon as possible? Is that it? He spat. Makino shrugged. I explained full well to the locals what the risks of experimentation were, and they were paid in accordance with said risks. They willingly consented to infection with the Ue virus. Sophistry. Osawa huffed, nothing more. Used money to deceive a bunch of poor farmers. Come on, Osawa, who's been disingenuous now? Makino eyed him with contempt and let out another puff of smoke. I know you, Osawa, and I know you're not really concerned for some bunch of hick farmers. All you care about is your research. The thing that's really nagging you right now is that someone went ahead and did the final clinicals without you. Oh, spare me the ridicule, sir. As a virologist, I have a moral duty to what? Makino barked. Go to the media with this? Do you have any idea how much money the company has thrown at your lab to keep it up and running? Osawa's lab has incurred expenses of roughly 30 billion yen in developing the antiviral medication. Koshi Pharmaceuticals spends approximately 200 billion yen per year on research and development. Osawa's work is the single most costly element of that budget. Yikes. Osawa gaped. I do appreciate all the company has done for me, sir. He spoke so quietly, his voice was nearly inaudible. In any event, Makino said, now that you know about the human testing, I can't let you go to America. How do you know about that? He insisted that I keep his planned relocation a secret. Apparently she told her father regardless. Damn it, you had one job. Sorry about the interruption. My younger brother's Discord got hacked, so we're just trying to fix that. He seems to have it under control, though. He doesn't really use it, so it's not really much of a loss in resetting everything. If you insist on making the move anyway, I'll use any means necessary to stop you. Makino regarded Osawa with a bloodshot gaze. Any means necessary? Osawa swallowed the lump in his throat. Sir, you don't mean that my daughter's kidnapping was... Don't be ridiculous, Makino said before Osawa could finish. Of course that wasn't me. Nevertheless, I'll do what I must to keep you in line. Remember that. Understood, sir. You have one job. I'll turn down the U.S. job offer. Osawa heard his own voice like the thin drone of a tiny insect. He felt utterly powerless. I can't simply take your word on that, Makino said. Do it now. I want to hear you do it myself. He jutted his jaw toward the phone in the backseat console. Alright, he had no choice. Couldn't this wait just a little bit? Maybe you could still find a way out. Couldn't this wait just a little bit, sir? Osawa asked. Maybe you could still find a way out. You already know what my decision is, Makino said. His tone carried an edge of intimidation. Osawa didn't reply, simply stared at the telephone. He felt like an insect who'd had all its legs plucked off. You need to think about your wife, too. Makino's words were barely above a murmur. Realizing his boss was speaking as Ai's father, Osawa couldn't bring himself to resist further. He reached out for the phone. It would be around 10 p.m. local time for the American firm. He decided to call his contact's personal phone. The headhunter was shocked to hear that Osawa wanted to decline the position. When he pressed for the reasons behind the decision, Osawa hung up. Visibly relieved, Makino lit up a fresh cigar. Sir, there's one thing I don't understand. And what's that? Osawa's head was feeling fuzzy. The smoke inside the vehicle had gotten extremely thick. If someone had this top secret information, why wouldn't they threaten the company as a whole? Why send those emails to me personally? I'm not sure. There's an internal investigation already underway. We'll find the source of the leak soon enough. At this point, though, Osawa wasn't sure knowing who originally leaked the info mattered much at all to him. If you'll beg my pardon then, sir, Osawa said. He put his hand on the door handle. A sudden, high-pitched chirp sounded from his pocket. The bug tracker Kajiwara had given him and picked up a signal. Is that your cell? Makino asked. Ah, oh, yes, that's mine. He hurriedly hopped out of the car and reached into his pocket. Is everything alright, sir? The driver was still waiting outside the car. He leaned towards Osawa, looking concerned. Was it you? Osawa stepped close to the driver. Huh? Did you send me those emails? What? What are you talking about, sir? Don't play dumb with me, Osawa said. You're the only person who could have planted a listening device on a company car. Listening device? The driver raised an eyebrow in confusion. What are you after? Sir, what are you after? Sir, what are you talking about? Who told you to do it? Tell me! The driver fled back into the car. Osawa clutched the bug tracker hard as he watched the vehicle pull away. He went back to his house, still gripped by confusion, to find Ai waiting in the entryway. She must have gone home while he was out. You were with my father, weren't you? She sneered at Osawa as he slipped off his shoes. Yes, I was, he replied. And it's over. What's over? She knows damn well what. He struggled to contain his irritation. America, I'm not going, he huffed. Oh, really? Well, that is good news, she sounded sincerely pleased. That's good timing, thank you. Maybe a little more pleased than Osawa cared for. I need to go finish up some work things, he mumbled. He hurried to his study up on the second floor. Wow, she's a piece of work. He threw himself down in front of his computer. There hadn't been any progress on the investigation as usual. Just how long was this all going to go on for? Were all kidnapping cases this drawn out? His specialized victim support team belonging to the Special Criminal Investigation Unit has been deployed at Osawa's house. The members of this team are all specialists who have received training in such skills as negotiation, high-speed motorcycle and automobile driving, running phone traces, special communications, and phone records acquisition. Osawa was growing more and more uneasy. He could barely contain himself at this point. Wasn't there anything that he could do? He glanced over at his monitor. That's an idea. He could look up kidnapping investigations on the internet. That might give him some insight into the current situation. That's not a good idea. Kidnapping, police investigation, hostages. He typed 3 keywords into the search field. The engine pulled up over 100,000 hits. He scanned the beginning of the list for anything that might be useful. One of the site links caught his eye. How do the police do it? It looks like a page containing information on various types of police cases. He clicked on the link for kidnapping cases and began to read. Even if the hostage wound up safe in the end, the site informed him the police lost face if the culprit got away. And if the hostages were killed and the kidnapper evaded capture, the media would have a field day. This made apprehending the suspect an absolute necessity. Even if a person's life was on the line, when it came to a kidnapping case, the police prioritized making the arrest. Yikes. Taking his hand off the mouse, Osawa sat back and thought. He wasn't going to be able to relax until he heard Maria's voice again. But if the police prioritized arresting the suspect, why were they just letting things stay in limbo now? Didn't they have crooks under surveillance? 1 second. He couldn't wrap his head around that. The internet hadn't been able to give him the info he'd hoped for after all. Unable to do anything for Maria but wait, he turned his thoughts to how the opportunity to transfer to the US had passed him by. The research facilities in America would have been top tier. Some part of him still couldn't quite accept what had happened. He stole a quick look back at the door, then surfed to the Aya Kamiki fan community for people 40 and over. Whenever something was weighing on his mind, posting on these forums seemed to turn his mood back around. He knew that now wasn't really a time to be doing this, but he needed to do something to calm and quiet his mind. He started a new forum topic. In the title field, he wrote Aya Kamiki expanding into the US. With Aya Kamiki still at the height of her popularity, does anyone else think it would be exciting if she ventured into the American market? I know I would. She's not the sort of artist who deserves to be confined to Japan. Remember being on forums? Like, I don't know. I remember when I was younger, before we had like Twitter and Discord and stuff like that, like you did forums. And I was actually kind of active in a few of them, which was weird for me because that kind of stuff scared me. But yeah, you would just start a topic and people would talk about it. It'd be weird. It's not the same as like Twitter or a Discord type of thing. It's over time. She should be recording an American studio staffed by the industry's best. I'd love to see her career really take off. Why are you so old? I don't know. This is before MySpace even. God, where was I? What was it for? I was on HC Bailey's, but that was afterward. I don't even remember what the forum was for. Crazy. Chat rooms, man. Gotta talk about Club Penguin and get abducted. Yeah, see, that's where it was at. You end up getting into a little back and forth with himself. Hopefully you get a response from someone else soon. See, this is also something. You start a forum post, no one responds, you make another account, you start a conversation, people see the conversation, they join. Sudden shrill noise startled him so much that he nearly cried out. His heart fluttered like that of a young child who'd been caught in some prank. Realizing the sound was coming from the bug tracker, he pulled it from his pocket and took a few breaths to steady himself. Evidently someone had bugged his study as well. Tracker in hand, he walked toward the center of the room. What direction was the signal coming from? He tried heading over toward the window. Here, maybe? Next, he headed over to his desk. Here, too? The bug tracker was picking up signals from all over the room. Had there been that many listening devices planted in here? Mr. Osawa, it's Kajiwara. Ah, perfect timing. Osawa hurried to let the detective into the study. The bug tracker is picking up signals. Oh? Yes, from all over the room. What should I do? Mr. Osawa, please calm down. As if that's even possible right now. Feels like there must be 10, no, maybe 100 listening devices in here. Kajiwara didn't miss a beat. Let me be honest with you. That bug tracker is broken. What? Osawa was dumbfounded. Broken? But this is the one I got from you, right? Well, yes. But mine isn't detecting anything. Kajiwara produced an identical bug tracker from his pocket. And as he said, it wasn't getting any signal. As I recall, Mr. Osawa, that one was dropped on the floor when I was trying to hand it to you. Ah, yes, that's right. That must have been when it broke. That must have been when it broke, sir. The strength ebbed from Osawa's body. He didn't even have the mental energy to be angry anymore. He gave the tracker a whack with the palm of his hand and the beeping stopped. Right, he said, what can I do for you? Kajiwara clapped his hands together as if he just remembered something. Right, we have a big problem. The toilet again? Osawa sighed. No, it's not that. It's something worse. Kajiwara's face turned grim. Something worse? Something happened to Maria? There was no way it could be that important, Osawa. Yeah, I'm gonna say there's no way it could be that important because this guy is a clown. Osawa didn't need to listen to this clown. Sorry, but I think we're done here. Now, would you please leave? Kajiwara's steely expression hardened even further. But Mr. Osawa, your life is on the line here. What? Just then a pathetic gurgle arose from Osawa's stomach. See? Kajiwara said. You are hungry. At the talk of food, Osawa realized abruptly he hadn't eaten anything since the night before. Shall I make something for you? The detective asked. This is all my fault after all. Osawa raised a curious eyebrow. Your fault? Well, you see, we ordered lunches for everyone, and it looked like there were 2 still left over, so I wound up eating them. There was an awkward pause. Osawa didn't have the foggiest idea of how to respond. My deepest apologies, sir. I ate the lunches intended for you and your wife. Kajiwara bowed profusely, and I really do need to apologize. There were tonkatsu bento boxes, and they were delicious. Of course. The life and death thing is, I ate your lunch. This guy has done nothing productive at all. A popular menu item for the Your Lunch in a Box bento chain, company president Chiyozo Osugi spent many years working at a famous French restaurant in Kyoto. Valuing flavor over sheer volume, he insists that each side dish in the bento box be prepared with considerable care and effort. Chiyozo is in distress after falling out with his daughter, but he simply can't forgive her eating habits which favor volume over flavor. The meat was so tender and the batter so crisp. With each and every bite, the rich flavor just filled my mouth more and more. Osawa felt the blood vessel burst in his skull. So then this is what you meant when you said my life was on the line? But they were tonkatsu bento boxes. Yeah, this is important. Yes, sir. Hunger is the enemy of the mind. It interferes with your ability to make proper decisions, so you really ought to get something in your stomach. Osawa was too flabbergasted to reply. Right then, Mr. Osawa, please follow me to the kitchen. This man. What's with that getup? Wearing an apron in the kitchen is a must, sir. The cartoon character print on the apron Kajiwara is wearing is one of his own design. Is modeled after the MPD's mascot. His name is Pinpo-kun. God. This man. Alas, it isn't while I'm naked. Oh my god. I don't want to even imagine you in just the apron cooking. No thank you. Naked. Oh, are you not familiar with the concept of the naked apron? Of course there's a thing for this. Instead of being entirely naked save for an apron, a form of cosplay, the views from the front, rear, and sides all offer a certain appeal, but caution must be advised, as it may be difficult to stop arguing about which presents the loveliest sight once the topic is raised. There are similar, more sexualized naked styles as well, such as the naked sock, the naked shoe, naked necktie, naked ribbon, naked scarf, naked collar, and so forth. Lord in heaven, if you don't eat, you will eventually die. This is true. I could demonstrate if you like. No, that's quite alright. Where'd you get that apron anyway? It's mine, sir. Have you had it with you this whole time? Yes, in here. With a smile, Kajiwara pointed to his pocket. Of course. Osawa eased himself into the chair. His hunger... How did you fit a whole apron into a pocket? His hunger was making him feel weak, and Kajiwara was making him feel like he was losing his mind. Oh, this is bad. This is bad, the detective said. I need to whip something up for you fast. Something's definitely wrong if you don't even have a comeback. Osawa felt his anxiety mounting. So what sort of food was this insufferable oaf gonna make anyway? Probably nothing worth eating, was his bet. Let's see. We pray he would wind up with something edible. Maybe it was better to ask Tanaka to make his lunch instead. Or since Ai's lunch was gone as well, he should probably ask her to make something. I need to see. I need to see what he's gonna make us. You just have to pray he wound up with something edible. Kajiwara peered into the refrigerator. Goodness, you are remarkably understocked, he said. Let's see. Could you please put these in the dinger, Mr. Osawa? Named for the sound of a microwave oven makes when it finishes heating your food. The microwave at my house doesn't really go ding when the time reaches 0, though. It's more just like a beep. It doesn't make sense to call microwave a beeper when it's already a word that refers to something else. I like those weird parenthetical comments in this. The detective handed Osawa some frozen lumps of rice. The dinger? What the heck is a dinger? The microwave oven, sir. Osawa stepped in front of the microwave. Unfortunately, I had no idea how to work the controls. You should thaw that rice out as soon as possible, Kajiwara told him. I'm actually not sure how to operate this thing. What? The detective guessed. You don't know how to use a microwave? Osawa could only nod in silent shame. It should be just as simple as turning the dial. Wait, which one? That one, sir. The one on the right. Osawa turned the dial and crossed his arms with a satisfied grin. Mr. Osawa, you need to put the rice in first before you do that. Then why didn't you say that? Osawa snapped. I never worked in a kitchen in my life. Don't ask me to do things that are this difficult. Very well, I'll handle this from here. Why don't you get out the bowls and the chopsticks then, sir? I have no idea where the hell those are kept. Kajiwara let out a heavy sigh. Alright then, just please sit and wait, sir, he said. And here, take this. Kajiwara pulled out a sheet of bubble wrap from his pocket. Use your fingers to pop the bubbles. That should help you calm down. Too drained to argue, Osawa did as prompted, starting to pop his way along the sheet. Rather than calm him down, though, it was making him incredibly cross. This felt more like a sort of ridiculous punishment. They say you can learn a lot about a household by looking in the fridge, you know. Kajiwara was cooking something in a frying pan. And, Osawa asked, what have you learned about mine? I'd better not say, sir. You might take offense. Osawa snapped another bubble between his fingers. The rice is finished thawing. Kajiwara topped the steaming bowl of rice with the fried egg he'd whipped up in the pan. Then, as if it were an afterthought, he added some pickled vegetables. That looks pretty good. Here you are, sir. Your fried egg on rice is complete. One of Kajiwara's simple recipes, others include his white spaghetti, which is simply spaghetti that's been flavored with butter, salt, and pepper after it's been boiled. Both are a bit too basic to be properly called cuisine, but it does take a certain skill to bring out the best flavor of the ingredients with such simple seasonings. That actually looks fairly nice. Kajiwara grinned from ear to ear. Go ahead and eat it while it's still warm. Osawa received the bowl with a dubious look. You aren't very good at cooking, are you? He said. All you had in your refrigerator were eggs and pickled vegetables, sir. I assure you it's quite delicious. I recommend breaking the yolk and mixing it all together. Reluctantly, Osawa brought a bite to his mouth. That's good. The words came out almost unbidden. Isn't it just egg yolk and pickled vegetables pair quite well? Osawa couldn't help but stuff his face, slipping into a rapturous daze as he did. The more he ate, the more it stirred his appetite. I had no idea fried eggs could be this delicious. I know you probably have a long ordeal still ahead of you, sir, but please keep your chin up and hang in there. Kajiwara gave Osawa an amiable smile. Ah, that's right, he continued. And for dessert, we have bananas! No, thank you. Please stop giving me bananas. Kajiwara grimaced as Osawa held up a hand in refusal. Right then, when you're finished eating, would you please wash the bowl? Me? Wash dishes? Osawa exclaimed in surprise, sounding like a petulant child. If someone else cooks for you, you should do the cleaning up. It's only polite. Fine, okay. While Osawa was doing the dishes, the bug detector went off again. Director, if you have a moment? Tanaka poked his head into the kitchen. Oh, I got something urgent to discuss with you. This man. Okay, so we're at another impasse here. I have a feeling that bug detector isn't particularly broken, but we'll see. Time to start Tama's story and see if we can start making headway into other people's plots. Yeah, so we left them with all of the burning hammer destroyed by, like, Kano tripping over. I think his apartment has an infestation. It seems like that. There's bugs everywhere. Bottles of burning hammer litter the pavement, shattered into tiny pieces of glass. Even if the recycling guy was really careless with the boxes, it shouldn't have caused this much of a mess. Looks like someone came along and actually threw them all over the place. Right, they threw them at the kidnappers. The heck with this thing! I toss away the miracle stone, which has clearly brought me only bad luck. We can't have a product demo without a product, which in turn means I won't be getting paid for this whole fiasco. I don't want to do autoplay. Okay, we can do this. We can figure out something. I try to give myself a pep talk, but I hear the doubt in my own voice. I try to brainstorm anyway. Finding inspiration is like trying to squeeze blood from a stone. I rack my mind for the best course of action. Gotta go talk to my lawyer, BLB, if you're still going later. I'm probably gonna be going for another half hour or so. But, yeah, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. I arrive at a conclusion. I'm gonna have to sell some burning hammer. I'm just gonna have to sell something else. Yeah, if I do the something else, it's gonna lead to the selling the stone, and we have to do the sell burning hammer option. Somehow or another, I'm gonna have to sell some burning hammer. The flyers have already been handed out. People have come to the demo expecting to get burning hammer. I may have to put in some new bottles and possibly water it down some, but getting the stuff sold is my only option. As much as I want to see, divorce is gonna be lit. Thanks. Great. Yeah, as much as I want to see Tama hypnotize an entire room full of people, I want to try to go along with the plot here. My eyes light on one of the cardboard boxes. I notice an odd mark that's stamped on it. Wait a sec. I've seen this before. I recall something Chiri said earlier. This is the sort of thing they'd sell in 100 yen shops or something. The mark on the box is the same as I saw in the shop that's selling the necklace. That's it. I can see if there's more at the knick-knack shop. Guided by this ray of hope, I head for the knick-knack shop as fast as I can run. A glimmer, a sliver, the ever-dwindling light in the distance. Point is, there's not much. Oh, who do we run it? We ran into Chiri. As soon as I reach the main road, I crash right into someone. Hey, it's Chiri. Oh, hey, you find it? She asks. She makes it sound like it's not really her problem. Not yet, but I think we can stock up at the 100 yen shop. The words are hard to get out when I'm panting as hard as I am. For now, just stay calm and go let the boss know. Got it. Leave it to me. Chiri nods and I break back into a run. I'm practically praying as I rush into the knick-knack shop, where I immediately spot the cardboard boxes I saw earlier still stacked up. Yes, I'm in luck! I dive into one of the boxes to check what's inside. It's packed with tiny bottles. There's no mistaking the noxious red liquid inside. That's burning hammer, all right. It's 50 bottles per box, and there are 4 boxes total. Assuming each bottle is 100 yen, including tax, I can buy the whole lot with my 20,000 I got in my wallet. Mr. Yanagashita said he was selling the bottles to the demo at 15,000 yen apiece. That way, if we sell 200 bottles, he'll be able to pay back his debts no problem. Whoa, what's the deal with you? The sales clerk's eyes go wide when he sees my getup. This stuff, I'd like your entire stock. Point at the burning hammer and the clerk makes an awkward face. I'm afraid that's already been sold. What? You mean like all of it? Nobody in their right mind could possibly want all of this. Yes, all of it, I'm afraid. Well, I'm not gonna roll over that easily. Whether I earn that extra 20,000 or not hinges on whether I can get this stuff. Please, you gotta help me out. I'm afraid it's out of my hands. Then could you get in touch with the buyer? Tell him I'm willing to negotiate. I suppose that wouldn't be an issue, but... Oh, did it again. Actually, would you mind waiting for just a moment? She said she'd be by ASAP. Oh, it's the wrestler lady. Yep. Even as I'm speaking with the sales clerk, a girl wearing a hoodie comes in. She's got a tiny frame and a doe-eyed face. Hey, I've come to pick up something I reserved, she says. This must be the customer the clerk was talking about. Please pardon my intrusion, but would you be willing to let me have these diet drinks? I bow extra deep and my costume head wobbles all around. Wait, what? I'll pay you double what they're worth. No can do. I've never seen this brand before. I'm super curious about it. Surely you don't need this many though. I do. I make my living with my body. This is about how much I'll need. Oh, wow, the sales clerk interjects. What sort of work do you do exactly? I'm a martial artist. I fight at a place called Bride. You might have heard of it. It's one of the more popular hotspots in Shibuya these days. Oh, I know the place, the sales clerk says, brimming with sudden excitement. The pub where they have cosplay martial arts competitions, right? Hold on, what are we talking about now? What's Bride? I seriously never heard of the place. It's a nightlife spot where ladies cosplay as anime characters, but they fight for real. I've been wanting to check it out, but they've hit their membership cap. The sales clerk explains. At present, the exclusive Bride has already exceeded its allotted number of members and is not accepting new ones. Given the buzz about how both the costumes and the fights are really something to see, memberships that are auctioned off online command quite high prices. So then, you must be pretty strong, huh? You must be pretty strong, huh? He says to the girl. Well, I may not look it, but I'm the current champion. The girl proudly adopts a fighting stance. Would you accept a challenge from me? I ask. A challenge? If I win, you have to let me have all of this. The girl breaks into a confident smile. Look at that guy back there. Do you have any idea who you're dealing with here? She asks. I intend to find out. Oh wow, the sales clerk exclaims. I have just got to see this. I'm glad to have him egging us on. Well, if you're that set in, I'm sure. Sure, I accept your challenge. Sweet. We've established our terms. This burning hammer may yet be mine. The girl cracks her knuckles, clearly eager for a fight. Oh my god, I'm about to die. Gotta win this. Somehow or another, I have got to. I mean, I've got to be good at something. Facing off against this fighter is gonna show what I'm made of. We are about to die. I address my opponent. And by challenge, I naturally mean... Okay. Obviously, what we have to do is like rock, paper, scissors or rhyming game, but I'm doing the straight up fight. Let's have ourselves a straight up fight. The girl grins nice and wide like she'd been waiting to hear me say that. Okay, you're on. Name's Miku, by the way. Challenge accepted. We're gonna die. Oh boy. Oh boy, I'm excited. Miku and I march out of the shop. Out on the pavement, we stare each other down. So if you win, I'll let you buy the burning hammer, Miku says. But if I win, I get to keep it and you have to pay for it. What? Isn't that a little unfair? If you don't like it, then it's no fight, no deal. I don't have time to rethink this. Alright. Ready whenever you are. Miku does a little brisk shadow boxing, throwing a repeated 1-2 combination. A training technique for boxing involves practicing strikes, guards, and evasion against an opponent who isn't actually there. Oh my god, there's a crowd. Whoa, what's the deal? Something going on? It's a street fight! A number of people pass by, including a businessman, a couple, as well as some pretty gruff-looking fellows, and some of them stop to form a small crowd. Achi... Of course Achi is here. Do I jump to Achi's thing from here? I guess so, yeah. Wait, does that mean that was the correct one to do? Oh my god, choosing to do the street fight was the correct choice if it's doing the jump. As luck would have it, they soon found a crowd in their path, backs turned toward them. Excited voices rose up from the throng. Well, what's the deal? Something going on? It's a street fight! Fight, as the name implies, that takes place out on the street, typically using bare hands and no weapons. Even a barehanded fight can result in serious injuries, though, which is why they're pretty illegal. Achi clutched Hitomi's hand good and tight. Whatever you do, don't let go! Without a moment's hesitation, he plowed his way through the crowd. Oh, I'm leaving them behind, sadness. Emerging from the far side of the gathering, Achi saw the main road ahead. Cars were zipping past in a steady stream. What do we do? There were too many cars for them to rush across the street without getting hit. But they couldn't exactly just sit and wait for the light to change. And they certainly couldn't go back the way they came. Their pursuers were getting closer and closer. Hitomi! Achi shouted. We're going across. What? Dragging Hitomi by the hand, Achi darted out into the street. Moving purely by instinct, he wove his way through the gaps between the speeding cars. Oh my god. We're making the traffic. Oh man, we're making the traffic jam. Yay! They're halfway across, a car slammed on its brakes to keep from hitting them, causing several cars behind it to crash into one another. The multi-vehicle pileup plunged the roadway into total chaos. Yeah, there we go. Traffic nearby area will be at standstill while on the way to the Syndicate hideout. Shinya Kano and Jack Stanley have gotten caught in the traffic jam. Let's go to their story. Oh, everything is heating up. It's heating up. Oh boy. Oh, I'm excited. Okay. The car moved at a glacial pace towards the crime syndicate's hangout. Stanley pounded his fist on the steering wheel in frustration. They had no sooner set out than the traffic slowed to a near standstill. Despite the occasional lurch, it never crept above a crawl. Oh boy, we're moving. We started a traffic jam. Now we're moving. Kano stood in the passenger seat. The case was rapidly getting out of hand. Now he had to worry about the safety of both Maria and her sister Hitomi. Never mind the fact that Detective Tateno had also gone missing. There were too many unknowns, too many uncertainties, and ease was growing unbearable. Also, Tateno hasn't radioed in, and we can't reach him for our end either. Kuze's words kept echoing inside Kano's head. What could have caused Tateno to drop out of contact? I'm just gonna put on autoplay for a bit because my hand is hurting. Someone had gone after Hitomi while Kano and the others were busy trailing the attaché case. Could that have been? Oh, that's going fast. No, it couldn't be. Kano was sure Tateno would have done whatever was necessary to keep Hitomi safe. Stanley broke the long silence. What's on your mind? Still thinking about that call from Kuze? Wait, Nagito's missing? Yeah, apparently. Kano didn't answer. Look, if you're going to be worrying about the other detective, the guy couldn't even protect one girl, Stanley continued. Not exactly a ringing endorsement. Don't you talk about Detective Tateno that way? I'm concerned about Hitomi Osawa, but the missing attaché case needs to come first. Stanley's expression remained stone cold. Kano flashed him a sidelong glare, and then went back to staring out the window. A moment later, a flurry of motion in a nearby alley caught his eye. With a start, he recognized Sasayama. His fellow detective was caught up in an altercation with the man in dark clothes. Okay, I need to turn off autoplay. Kano sprang to action, his body moving almost before his mind registered the situation. Sasayama! Flinging the door open, he leapt out of the car. Hey, wait! Stanley called after him, but Kano was already sprinting toward the fight. Oh! The other man knocked Sasayama into a pile of garbage. As Sasayama struggled to get back to his feet, his opponent looked down at him with a triumphant sneer. Kano finally got a good look at the man, his eyes flashed with recognition. It was the perp who'd first taken the attaché case back at the Scramble, Tariq Al-Karwan. You! Kano growled. He sped like a bolt to tackle Al-Karwan around his legs. No, I didn't want to press that. I'm pressing that. It's shift, and I keep pressing it's enter to advanced text and shift for the auto, so they're right above each other. But Al-Karwan nimbly stepped aside. Kano's arms closed around nothing but air. Ooh! At the same moment, Al-Karwan deftly wrapped his arm around Kano's neck. Kano felt a vice-like pressure on his carotid artery. A move known as the front choke sleeper hold, constricting the carotid artery, stops blood flow to the brain, causing the opponent to lose consciousness, also known as the guillotine choke. His consciousness quickly began to slip away. Oh no, you don't, you bastard! He snarled, lowering the center of gravity. He got hold of one of Al-Karwan's legs and used his shoulder as a fulcrum against it. Ah! Despite the arm still crushing his neck, Kano managed to lift his opponent high into the air. Whoa! He continued the movement to heave Al-Karwan up and over himself, slamming him upside down into a heap of trash. Stanley strolled up to the aftermath of the struggle. Well, you got the brawn part down, he said. Need some work on the brains. Al-Karwan was sprawled out atop the mound of refuse. He'd been knocked out cold. Sasayama coughed and sputtered. Kano went to help him to his feet, but Stanley stepped in between them. What are you doing? Stanley asked. Helping Sasayama, what does it look like? We need to apprehend Al-Karwan first. He's not even conscious. Sasayama can come first. He pushed Stanley aside and crouched down alongside his partner. Hey, are you alright? He asked. Yeah, Sasayama groaned. You bailing me out, though? Can't let the missus know about that. Mum's the word, Kano said. He slipped an arm underneath Sasayama and helped him to his feet. Managed to find the guy who had the attaché case, Sasayama said, but when I tried to arrest him, this fella came out of nowhere and attacked me. He flashed Al-Karwan a nasty look. So here we go again, disobeying direct orders, Stanley huffed. What's the deal with Japanese police anyway? Shook his head in exasperation. Sasayama gave Kano a puzzled look, jerking his thumb at the American. Who's this guy? It's a long story, Kano said. He filled Sasayama in on the situation. Enough chit-chat. Hurry up and cuff this guy, Stanley said. Kano knelt down by Al-Karwan's unconscious body, flipped him over, and proceeded to cuff his hands behind his back. Huh? Kano paused. Al-Karwan's sleeve had slid back from his wrist. What's this? The unconscious man had a tattoo of a two-headed scorpion on his left forearm. Stanley strode over. You find something? He asked. Yeah, I think this guy might just be the ringleader. Seeing the image had reminded Kano of something he'd heard back at the headquarters, that the head of the foreign syndicate had a scorpion tattoo. He relayed this information to Stanley. I see. Stanley called up Kuze in his cell. You'll be happy to know the guy with the attaché case is still at large, he said. Apprehending the ringleader at this point shouldn't be an issue. One of your so very capable subordinates gave us a big step forward in the case here. Wait a second, Sasayama murmured. That was sarcasm, wasn't it? Stanley hung up and called over to him. Think you can escort this guy back to the precinct? Yeah, sure, seeing how very capable I am. Kano felt his phone vibrate. The display showed an incoming call from Rumi. It's our fiancé. Hello? He answered warily, keeping his voice down. Stanley had him a little on edge. It's me. It was Shizuo. Oh, it's me. Damn it, Kano thought. He did not have time for this right now. But if he just hung up, he might be in even deeper hot water. Kano decided to have to take that risk. He hung up. Decided I'll listen to the old man has to say. Hello, sir. I'm afraid I'm not really at liberty to take a personal call right now, even if it is from my father-in-law. He did his best to sound apologetic. I'm not your father-in-law. Yes, of course. Sorry, sir. He bowed his head reflexively, feeling like an idiot. You really don't give a damn about keeping me waiting like this, do you? Sir, I swear to you, I feel terrible. Please, I just... Flushy took a deep breath and recomposed himself. I promise you, sir. I promise I'll be there. If you could just wait a little while... Don't make promises you can't keep! Shizuo's barking rebuke made Kano break out in a sweat. Do you think I'm gonna let you off the hook just because you're working a case? This is exactly why I don't want my daughter with some detective. Great, another angry tirade. But didn't you used to be a detective, sir? Kano muttered. You watch yourself, you little brat! It's not enough that you keep calling me your father-in-law and I have to bring that up? Evidently, Kano had touched a raw nerve. Ever have a dentist hit a nerve while drilling a tooth? That's where this expression comes from. It seems like anything he said only made matters worse. Well, you're not off the hook, Shizuo continued. I am never letting my daughter marry the likes of you. His fury hitting its crescendo, Shizuo promptly hung up. Why on earth did Shizuo hold such intense malice towards police detectives when he'd been one himself? Kano become a detective for Rumi's sake in the first place, and now was the biggest thing holding him back. Hey, come on, let's go. I'm sorry, let's go. Stanley's voice snapped Kano out of his daze. Grimly followed the American back to the car. Well, at least we found Nagito again. Yet again, Stanley was thumping the steering wheel in frustration. Traffic hadn't let up one bit. It was starting to look like they might never make it to the foreign syndicate's hangout. Kano caught sight of a girl in a hoodie weaving her way between stopped cars on foot. He rolled down the window and called out to her. Miku Morita, oh, this is Miku again, was a fighter at the cosplay fighting pub Bride, but just decided to retire after losing to Tama? She's thinking about what to do with herself now. We missed a lot. We missed a lot. Goodness. Excuse me, miss. Did something happen? Huh? What do you mean? With the road, I mean. What's with all the traffic? Oh, right. Apparently there's some big accident over by the train station. That's probably what's causing it. Really? Yeah, I don't think you guys are going to be going anywhere for quite a while. She smiled and went on her way. What? What did we miss? Stanley gave the steering wheel another punch. I guess they did say this wasn't just some typical ransom case, he muttered. Kano saw an opportunity. If they're not after the money, then what are they after? Stanley kept his eyes forward, acting as if he hadn't heard. Look, Kano said, I can't help you if you keep me out of the loop. After a few months of thought, Stanley replied with a single monosyllable. Drugs. What? Maria's father, Kenji Osawa. I assume you're aware he works for Koshi Pharmaceutical? I am. Nothing's been made public yet, but Osawa recently also oversaw the development of a new drug. This is the, is not at all uncommon for a new drug to be in development for 15 years or more, with the expenses totaling 20 to 30 billion yen, roughly 200 to 300 million US dollars before it's approved. Worldwide demand and sensational profits can be expected if a groundbreaking medicine is developed. Nonetheless, pharmaceutical companies are often under major pressure due to the tremendous cost of labor and equipment. Someone is trying to get their hands on it. Kano's mind latched onto this new information, trying to assemble the pieces of an evolving puzzle. Someone? Who? The international criminal mastermind. This foreign syndicate is merely a tool in someone else's game. Kano regarded Stanley's face carefully. He looked more cold and serious than ever. So wait, does that mean that the reason we're letting the syndicate walk around unfettered is on my orders, yes. I see. So the only thing you're really concerned with is catching this international mastermind? Precisely. Kano felt like he was starting to get a picture of what sort of person Stanley was. So you don't really care what happens to the girl who's been abducted, do you? Not particularly, no. Why? Do you have a problem with that? Kano clenched his fist. His hand was shaking with anger. Dictum number 8. And you really want to punch something? You really probably shouldn't. Kano recited the words inwardly like some sort of desperate mantra. If he didn't manage to calm himself now, he was liable to slam his fist right into Stanley's face. You know, if Stanley was the main character, this would be the Stanley parable. Outside the car, the traffic remained at a standstill. Kano chafed against the feeling of utter futility. One after another, his uncertainties came to nag at him. Was Maria still safe? What had happened to Hitomi Tateno, her bodyguard? And now, on top of all of this, it struck Kano as rather careless to send Sasayama away with all Karawan without any backup. Now that Jack had alerted him to the presence of a dangerous international mastermind still on the loose. Fighting back on his fit of pique, Kano got out his cell phone. To do something impulsively out of irritation, resentment, or the like, similar to doing something in a huff. Yeah, let's see how Sasayama's doing. He wanted to make sure his partner had gotten Alcaron back to the precinct safely. I have a feeling he didn't. Sasayama picked up almost right away. Kano, what's up? How are things on your end? Any problems getting our Karawan back? Nah, I got Tateno taking care of him. Wait, what? Kano could hardly believe his ears. You were in touch with Tateno? He asked. He could hear the shock in his own voice. Yeah, just bumped into him over by the precinct a little while ago. Then he is safe. Kano felt a surge of relief. What about Hitomi then? Stanley glanced at him, curious. Tateno said he lost track of her somehow, and then he got called back to the precinct, apparently. Tateno had lost track of her? That's not like him, Kano thought. Since he was heading back there anyway, I handed our guy over to him, Sasayama said. I see. Kano was glad to hear Tateno was alright, but his relief was tempered by a surge of anger at the thought of what happened to Hitomi. Now I'm back to tailing the attaché case. Sasayama continued. Today it's my wife's birthday, you know. My plan is to wrap this thing up ASAP so we can celebrate tonight. I've already got a present and everything. I envy you, man. Closing his eyes, Kano took a moment to picture Rumi, but Shizuo's face popped into his mind's eye right alongside her. Well, just hang in there, buddy, even if your girlfriend is just a picture of Masami Nagahama. Midoriyama Academy graduate and national celebrity, her popularity shows no sign of slowing after she played the female lead in such films as The Beast That Hoarded Gold at the Heart of the World and The Swidden Fortress. There's another nationally famous actress of the same name, but it is a nationally known fact that the two are completely separate people. Still snickering, Sasayama hung up. Kind of bit his lip and slipped his phone back into his pocket. At long last, traffic began to move again. And almost as soon as it did, however, Stanley had to slam on the brakes. The abrupt stop made Kano smack his head against the windshield. Hey, what gives? Look, Stanley said. He gestured with his chin. What? Kano couldn't believe his eyes. There, walking along the sidewalk ahead, was Al Karawan, very much not in custody. What the hell? Kano shouted, already hopping out of the car. Stanley was right behind him. They crept up on their target as silently as possible and then rushed him once they were close. In a moment they had subdued him, Kano used his own body weight to hold Al Karawan down. What are you doing out here? He demanded. Whoa, hey, guess you didn't get the memo, huh? Al Karawan flashed a coy grin. They let me go. Let you go? I think your buddy here might have hearing problems, Al Karawan said to Stanley. I'm a free man. Kano turned and glared at Stanley. What is he talking about? No idea. First things first, get this guy back to the precinct. I'll head to the syndicate hangout by myself. You don't think this is weird? Kano asked. I mean, what the heck is this guy doing on the loose again? What matters is that he is free. Maybe he's telling the truth about being let go. But that's ridiculous. I guess he must have escaped on his own, Stanley replied. In either case, your buddy screwed up royally. Now it's on you to unscrew things. None of this sat right with Kano, but the fact remained that he couldn't just let Al Karawan go. He gave Stanley detailed directions to the hangout, and the car sped away towards Yoyogi. Then Kano headed back to the precinct with his captive, trying to reassure himself that he might learn something from questioning Al Karawan that would help resolve the case. Kano sat opposite Al Karawan in the interrogation room. He'd been attempting to interview the suspect for about a quarter of an hour. Al Karawan sat ramrod stiff, not responding to any prompts or questions. What time is it right now? He asked. They'd taken away his watch, his wallet, a small knife, and his keychain. This is the third time he asked to know the time. Why are you so concerned what time it is? Kano asked. Al Karawan gave no reply. Are you waiting on something? Again, the suspect was staunchly silent. Kano wasn't sure what to make of this, but he took a look at his watch. It's around 2 o'clock, he said. Time exactly. 2:18? 2:18 and how many seconds? Look, just cut the crap. Kano grabbed the prisoner by the collar. What the hell are you people after? Al Karawan merely repeated his question. What time is it right now? With a growl of aggravation, Kano shoved his wristwatch in Al Karawan's face. Ah, it's 2:20, Al Karawan said. Okay then, that should do it. What does that mean? The interrogation went on for several more hours. Despite Kano's best efforts, however, Al Karawan said nothing more. During all that time, the case continued to develop in unexpected ways, but Kano, stuck in the interrogation room, knew nothing about it until everything was over and done. And we get a bad ending. Why is it While Kano performed admirably in recapturing Tariq Al Karawan, ironically, his actions actually disrupted the investigation. Maybe letting the syndicate run free for the time being really was the right call. Someone can do something at 1340 that throws a wrench into Kano's activities. Thanks to the involvement of unrelated parties, and Kano's reaction will make the investigation play out differently. Interesting. Okay, so we got a bad end over here. And we still have to continue on with Achi's story and Tama's story. We have to find out how the heck Tama beat Miku at the fight. But I think we're actually going to stop the stream here. I wanted to do about 2 hours, but I think this is a good stopping point because I don't know how much longer the other things are going to go for the time being. Are we... Oh, so we made it all the way to the end of the hour for Osawa stuff. That's interesting. Okay. But yeah, I think we're gonna stop over here. I think this is a good point to stop. And I don't know if we're gonna stream this again this week or maybe just another early stream next week. But yeah, I like this time because I'm not tired from the rest of the day and I still got stuff I can do during the rest of the day. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. And I hope you all have a good rest of your days as well. Thank you very much for stopping by. I appreciate it. Bye!